So, hello, namaste, welcome, good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, in whichever part of the world you are joining us from. My name is Deepakar Khemani, and I am one of the co founders of Bloom. Along with my co host Premraj and our CEO, I welcome you all to this 186th non stop Sunday talk show. Over the past 3.5 years, every Sunday, be it offline or online, we have been there at 12:30 India time, talking to people from all across the globe. We have had speakers, trainers, coaches, mentors, healers, athletes, doctors, people from the armed forces. We have had couples, LGBT, you name it, and they have graced our platform. Last episode we completed all the continents that there are in this world to where people have been to or have joined us from. So right across Europe, USA, America, Africa, Asia, Australia, and our very own Ram Prasad Lal, who has been to Antarctica multiple times. So we've completed all the continents. Continuing that tradition, we have a very special guest who is joining us today. Let me ask my co-host Premraj to introduce her and take the show ahead. Over to you, Premraj. You're muted. Yeah.
Thank you, Deepak. Thank you very much. Yes, we have a special guest with us in Tanya Bhatia, who is a life and inner child healing coach. If you're stuck in life and are unable to come out of the vicious negativity cycles alone, then Tanya is your go-to person. She uses a method which she has christened as the IRP method, which is identify your mind blocks, repair the past healing negative beliefs, and prepare for the future. Tanya is also a communication coach and a soft skills trainer. She believes everybody needs to do inner work. Intensity would vary from person to person, but the result of the inner work gets passed down to hold your breaths 7 generations. Healing and getting coached is not only for me, but also for those doing well to move from good to better, and those doing super amazing things to continue to stay at that level by becoming 1% better every single day doing inner work. Let us know more about this craft from the lady herself. Tanya, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's my honor and pleasure to be here. Very excited to share my insights with you all.
What, according to you, Tanya, is life?
Okay, beautiful question to start this discussion with. I have two definitions for what life is, and it can take some time for me to explain it because I don't want to keep it very generic. I give some definition and people say, oh, yeah, aise hota hai, or, it happens like this. I really want to get to the root cause of what life actually seems to me, what I have learned through my experience, and I'm sure people will relate with it. So, the first definition of life, which I feel and truly believe in, that life is like a movie. We all are the actors in it. And who is the producer of this movie? The Almighty or the divine power that I believe in, right? If I don't believe in God, I will call it the higher consciousness or the universe. So, universe is the producer of the movie, and universe is also the director of the movie. Now, why I call it director? Because some things in this movie for me are predestined, which I cannot change. The family that I'm born into, the siblings that I have, then the person that I get married to, the children that I have, when I'm born, when I will die. These things are not in my control. So that is why I say that higher power is the producer and the director. But the twist is that when I am the actor in this movie, I'm also given the permission to be the director. So I am the co-director with that higher power who is also the director. Now, when I say I am just the character in the movie, I will just experience things and I will say, oh, I don't have the power to change what I should do next in this movie. That is the role of a character. But when I say that I am also the co-director, universe has given me the permission to be the co-director. That means I can co-create my life with the universe. And when I take the control back into my life by being the director, some things I will not be able to change. I agree, because that higher power is governing that. But some other things I will be able to change as a director. And that is where the thoughts that I think and the choices that I make will decide what will I do next in this movie. I need to be very clear of the thoughts that I think, what I feel inside, and what choices I take in this movie so that I can co-create my life. And when I take the role as a director, I stop living life on the autopilot mode and I start living life on a conscious basis. Now, what is autopilot mode? Autopilot mode is that I'm born in this movie, my parents send me to school, I study, I take part in extracurricular activities, I get into college, I start into a job, then I leave that job, I start my own business, and then I get married, then I have children, then I accumulate a lot of wealth. I want to travel the world, and then one day I die, right? So this is what, I will live life on an autopilot mode. But when I start living consciously, when I know that this movie is directed also by me, I can take conscious choices, I can take conscious decisions. And that's when I will take the power back into my life. Now, when this movie is going, this movie will have lot of twists and turns. Some twists and turns will be fantastic. I will be in love with these twists and turns. They will be just as per my liking. Some will be okayish, neither good, neither bad, and some will be miserable. Some will definitely be miserable. Now, in that case, what I need to do is, now this miserable life situation or the unfavorable person who enters into my life, what I need to do, he is a villain. He or she is a villain, right? Whether it is a situation or whether it is an unfavorable or uncomfortable person. Now, this is a villain. Now, what will I do? When the villain comes and I am the actor in this movie, I start looking for the hero or heroine outside. Now, there is no harm in looking for the hero or heroine outside, but the point is that the real hero or heroine will lie inside me. So that's when my spiritual awakening happens. When the villain enters the movie, then I realize I'm not just the actor, but I am the hero or heroine. And I will need to find the hero or heroine within me. Now, I can take help from the outside sources. These are my parents, my friends, my gurus, my mentors, my teachers, my coaches. I can take help from them. They will provide me comfort. But they are not the hero or the heroines. Who is the hero or the heroine? It is lying already inside me. So life is not just a movie. It is like when I'm walking on the road or I am driving my car on the road. This red light, when it comes, that's the villain. Because this villain is making me uncomfortable and I need to stop my car there. And when I stop my car there, something in me is getting triggered. I am not liking this red light. I'm not liking it. Something in me is getting triggered. And that trigger is my resistance to change. Or that trigger is my fear. And unless and until I heal this trigger or I heal this fear, the red light will not turn into yellow, right? So when the red light comes, it is a indication for me to stop my car on the road and heal my resistance inside or heal my fear. Now, when I start doing the inner work, like I'll sit in silence and I will reflect on what my mindset is and what can I change within. Instead of changing people outside, I will reflect what can I change within. And when I do this process, that's when the red light changes into yellow light, because it is an indication that I am preparing myself for my higher potential. And when I become absolutely prepared, the yellow light changes into green light again, and I get the signal and I start driving my car again. Now this car is driving, at 110 kilometers per hour at a nice speed. For 2 months, it goes very well. Suddenly, another villain will come, and then the red light will come. And when that red light comes, I will be like, oh my God, I have another resistance inside me. I have another fear inside me. And that's when I will need to start working on myself again. And that's when the red light will change into yellow. And from yellow, it will change to green light. So, this is my understanding of what life is. It's a movie, and it's like I'm driving the car on the road, red light will come, I will have to fight. And I should not waste my time looking for the hero or the heroine outside. The hero or the heroines outside that I'm looking for, whether these are my role models or my teachers, my mentors, my parents, they will give me support, no doubt. But the real hero or heroine lies inside only. And to this, I want to add one more thing, that what happens when the red light comes, when I'm driving on the road, that's when I realize that this villain has arrived. And then I feel very powerless that, how do I fight this villain? I feel very powerless. And that's when I start to see all dark around me. And I see my shadow. I see my shadow self, because that shadow self is pulling me down, right? But I also need to understand that I will be able to see shadow only when there is light. So let's suppose I am in a room right now and the power cut happens and I make it absolutely dark. Will I be able to see my shadow? No. I will be able to see my shadow only when there is a source of light. Then only I will be able to see my shadow either on the wall or on the floor. So that means when we see our shadow side, the side which is feeling miserable, which is feeling helpless, it is an indication that the light is already within us. Otherwise, shadow is not visible. So that's my definition of life. What do you feel about it, Mr. Premraj, about this?
Brilliant, brilliant way. The way you put it, life is on a stage, and all of us are actors. We have our bit roles. We have a family to support us. All those red lights that are coming in, which will be the hindrances and the roadblocks that will put it. But the real energy is the energy that comes from within. That's beautifully put. Thank you for
Right.
this definition of life. I hope
I want to
I've
add
summarized.
something more
Yeah.
to it. Can I?
Please.
I learned it somewhere. Okay, I learned it from my mentor. So this definition. The first definition is what I introspected when you invited me for this. But the second is what I learned, and I'll tell you that when this stage is like a theater, I am the actor, you are the actor. Now I am liking my acting because I feel that I'm a good person. But if somebody else, another actor comes and I don't find his behavior, his attitude towards me right, then instead of getting triggered and instead of getting agitated or angry inside, my role as an actor is to just smile at another actor. Why? Because that actor is doing his acting, right? So instead
Yeah.
of getting agitated that why is this person making my life so miserable? Why is this person so lazy? Why is this person not listening to me? Why do they always fight with me? Instead of getting entangled in all of that, what will I do? I will just look at that person like an actor. And when I know that that actor is doing his role in the movie, right? So let's suppose if somebody is very lazy and that is making me, I have a fight with that person every day. So what will I do? That person is not changing. So I need to understand that the the acting that the person is doing as a lazy person, that is 10 on 10. Can I be that lazy? I will ask myself. Then I will say, no, I can't be that lazy. So that means the person is doing 10 by 10 acting. So 10 out of 10 points for that acting, right? Now, if the person is very rude, I will get triggered, I will feel very bad, but after some time, I will need to change myself. So, what will I do? I will look at that person and I will say, my God, hats off to this person for being so rude with me every single day, right? 10 out of 10, because I can't be that rude, right? So, at least somebody is playing his role. That is his duty in this movie called life, right? So, if we start viewing the person like an actor and just just appreciate their acting skills for whatever they are doing. We will stop getting entangled in it and we will start to find the peace within. So this I really liked whenever I heard this.
You put it very well. How is the victim mindset and living an ordinary or extraordinary life interrelated?
Victim mindset. Okay. Victim mindset is whatever is happening with me, if it's not happening as per my choice, then I start blaming and I start complaining that the boss in my office is not good, not very supportive. My colleagues are not supportive. Family members are not supportive. My friends keep on leaving me. All of this. That means I'm living in a victim mindset. And when I live in a victim mindset, I will find faults in everyone else and I will try to fix everyone else. And I will always look for sympathy. But when I live in the victim mindset, I'm living an ordinary life. Now let's understand what extraordinary life is. When I shift from victim mindset to victor mindset, that is extraordinary life. But I would like to explain it with some examples that I thought over this. I'm
Please.
sure everybody has heard victim mindset, victor mindset. Today, I really want to give some examples which I feel, it is going to help everyone. Let's suppose I go on a trip with my friends. I have 5 friends and I'm the sixth person. And all of these 5 friends, they start gossiping about this one person who is not in the trip. And now I will ask myself that do I like gossiping? And then I will say, no, I don't like gossiping. And I don't like when people also gossip unnecessarily about someone. But then what will happen? What is my heart's desire here? My heart's desire is to not go into that gossip, but other people are gossiping. So the first choice that I have to live an extraordinary life is either to confront these people and tell them that what are you getting out of, just pulling someone's leg? That person is not even existing here. Let's focus on ourselves, right? But is there a guarantee that my friends are going to listen to me? No. But my heart's desire is to not indulge in gossip of any sort of, because that's against my value system. So what will I do? I will listen to my heart's desire. So extraordinary life for me is listening to your heart's desire, honoring your heart's desire, and moving 1 inch closer to your heart's desire. So now, when I am confronting my friends and they are not listening to me, what will I do? The second step to follow my heart's desire is to accept these people because they are finding joy in gossiping and I am not. Now, when they confront me and they say, Tanya, what do you think about this person? And they are just liking all the gossip. So, what will I do? Because I want to follow my heart's desire, I will not speak ill about that person. And also, I will remain neutral. So, the thing is, I cannot control what others are doing. But if I follow my heart's desire, I am living an extraordinary life. I'll take second example to explain it. Living an extraordinary life means I am moving 1 inch closer to my heart's desire. Now, the second desire that my heart has is to live a peaceful life. Like my motto is live and let live. Don't interfere too much in anyone else's life. And I also personally don't like somebody else interferes in my life a lot, right? So that is my heart's desire to find peace. But sometimes peace cannot be found. It is not existing in the external world. So what will I do? I will have to create peace. Now suppose this toxic person enters my life, okay? And they are triggering me every day, right? And now I'm getting upset because of it. I'm getting angry. So for 1 month, 2 months, I just keep on, arguing with them and fighting with them and they're fighting with me. Now what will happen? I will need to ask myself that, Tanya, how do you want to live an extraordinary life? And then my inner child will give me the answer that, Tanya, you want to live an extraordinary life by following your heart's desire. And then I will get my answer that my heart's desire is to create peace. So, what will I do to create peace? I will confront this person if I have the courage. If I don't have the courage, that's a different story. So, I confront this person does not listen, does not want to change, because in their eyes, they are doing the right thing, right? So, what will I do? The second option I have to follow my heart's desire to create peace is to accept this person and create boundary with that person. And when I create boundary, now I ask myself, how can I create peace? Because peace is my heart's desire, right? So then I will sit in my meditation every day for 1 hour, and I will do my spiritual practices to cleanse myself, because I don't want to get into the drama every day with this one person, right? Now, do I have the option of throwing this person away from my life? I may not have the option. But if I want to follow my heart's desire, I will have to create peace. And for that, I will have to do certain activities, right? So, this is my definition of living an extraordinary life. It has nothing to do with the amount of fame that I have or the amount of wealth that I have. It has nothing to do with this. For me, living an extraordinary life means that I do not let the external circumstances create my internal reality. Rather, I will let my internal reality create the external circumstances for me. Right? And now, if the third person will come and they will say, Tanya, you are suffering like this, you are living with this toxic person. Oh, so bad. For that person, my life may not be extraordinary. But I know that the best option I have to follow my heart's desire to create peace is to do whatever I am doing in my internal space by detaching myself in whatever way possible from this person. So that means I'm following my heart's desire. I am living an extraordinary life. But somebody who is a millionaire, for them, everybody else will say, oh, wow, what an extraordinary life. But is that person finding it extraordinary? Are they able to follow their heart's desire? That's the question. That's my
Wonderful
answer.
distinction. Wonderful distinction. Thank you for that.
Right.
Can you elaborate on the concept of inner child healing and its significance in personal development and emotional well-being?
Okay, right. So, inner child healing is a very beautiful concept, and it has a lot of significance in personal well being and emotional well being. Now, when I say this, right now the time is 12:53 IST, Indian Standard Time, right? Now, I joined this session at 12:30 p.m. IST. So that means the version of me that existed at 12:30 is my inner child, or that existed at 12:45 is my inner child, because some parts of that version and some parts of my current version are same, but some parts are different. Now, how they are different? Because when I started the session, in that case, you know, I was a different person. I was just thinking that what will happen in the session. But now that I have answered two questions, I've got an idea, how people are there and what they are listening, what am I able to say. So I'm a different person right now. And that's my inner child. So 12:30 version is my inner child. So what happens is, if something does not happen as per my desire, my inner child will get hurt and wounded. It could be as simple as I not getting, you know, the first rank in my class, or my teacher, scolding me, or my parents saying that, Tanya, how much ice cream do you keep on eating every day and you put on weight? Now we will not give you ice cream for the next 1 month, right? Incidents as small as this or some bigger incident are enough to break the inner child. Break means to create split inside the inner child. Okay. So Usually what happens is when this inner child is wounded and we have not attended to this inner child, and we don't sit with this inner child and we don't ask the child that, dear child, what do you need? Then the child is wounded inside and we are living our life. Now, the consequence of the inner child being wounded may not come immediately. It can come after 5 years, it can come after 10 years. So, healing the inner child is very important because by heart we all are children, no matter how old we grow. We want happiness in our life. There is a child inside us. So, healing the inner child is very important. I'll give you an example. If I am 3 years old and I was very fond of eating ice cream, and my elder brother used to get ice cream because he was 4 years elder to me, and I didn't get it because doctor told that I have tonsils. So I didn't understand what tonsils is. But if my parents say, no, no, you can't have the ice cream, and I felt like, why they every time ask me only to stop, right? To not have it. So I am feeling a little alone in this case. Now, it's a very small example. Why I'm giving this small example is because this is the reality. This is how our inner child keeps on getting wounded. Okay, with a small incident like this. But then when I'm growing up, I will forget it. Okay, I will forget such incident. Then I go to my school and then I make my best friend, and then I realize this best friend is saying something negative about me to somebody else. Okay, and then I confront this best friend, and this best friend is making stories and all, and I feel hurt, and my inner child is wounded, and I feel that people cannot be trusted. Okay, and then I go to my college, and there I perform on stage, and the performance is very average, although I good appreciation from the crowd, but I myself am not satisfied. So I create a trauma inside me that, you know, I am good for nothing. I can't even handle a stage performance. See how people were laughing. Now people may not be laughing, that is just my perception, that what are people thinking about me, they are laughing. Now because my inner child is again wounded here, I will stop being very upfront and very extrovert in social gatherings, right? So this is how, when the inner child keeps getting wounded again and again and again and again, there are results which we see in our life later on, may not be very immediate. And unless we heal these inner children inside us, emotionally, some things will always remain unresolved, and that will result in some negative emotions. Those emotions keep getting stored inside our body. And unless we process these emotions in a healthy way and give them an outlet to go outside and say that now it's past, we are grown up now, let's release this through some healthy mechanism, we will not be able to give our 100% in the future scenarios. So that's why healing the inner child is very important for our personal or emotional well-being.
And that's nicely put. When you talk about this inner child healing, like you mentioned, it also involves visiting past traumas or painful memories. How do you ensure a safe and supportive environment for clients during this process? And what are the strategies that you employ to help them navigate any emotional resistance or discomfort that may arise during this process?
Right. Very insightful question.
Thank you.
Because when people are looking for support in terms of healing their inner child, usually people do not know that the inner child, there's something called inner child healing. Most people don't know that. All they come with is a problem. And what is that problem? Feeling stuck in some area in their life. Now, usually in 99% cases, I have seen that when anybody feels stuck in their life, it is because there is some emotional issue which needs to be resolved. Because our life is a game of emotions, right? So when I ask questions to them, I understand that this challenge that they are facing, where they are feeling stuck, is a little it's of heavy volume, and it will need a special kind of intervention where just coaching and asking them questions might not work, right? So they will need to go back in the past and resolve those traumas, or resolve those painful memories by revisiting them and by feeling them, and then again coming back to the present. So, in order to ensure a safer and a supportive environment, it is very essential that the person who is seeking the support, if they're seeking my support, they should be able to feel that level of comfort and that level of trust in me. And for that, I always ask people that before you sign up with me or you get me onboarded as your coach, you have to like speak to me. And that is what I call a life analysis session. So usually earlier I used to do it like for an hour, but then I understood that just 1 hour is not going to help person feel safe and supported. So I do this session for almost 3 hours with the individual in order to help them understand whether they can trust me, whether they can lean on me for this healing process or not. Then I tell them that when you're making a decision to work with someone, look for a vibrational match. So if you're able to trust me and if you're able to find me as an energetic match to you, then I am always ready to 100% help you. But if you don't find the energetic match with me, go to someone that you resonate with. Because unless they can trust the person who is helping them navigate their painful issues or whatever feelings that they are getting stuck with, no matter how beautiful the process is, if they cannot trust the other person, if they cannot feel safe with the other person, they will not be able to go through the process and the transformation will not occur. So this is the first step. I tell the clients that always work with someone you find an energetic match with.
That's nicely put. You need trust for transformation to happen.
Right, right.
My last question to you before I get my co-host Deepak in. In your introduction, we mentioned about the results of inner work gets passed down 7 generations. Want to elaborate on that, please?
Yes. So many a times what happens is, if I'm facing certain issue or challenge in my life, it may not be really related to some uncomfortable situation that I have first personally faced in the past, or it might have no, it might have no existence in my conscious memory. Like if suppose I'm feeling stuck in terms of not being able to drive. Let's suppose I want to learn driving, but I have a lot of fear or phobia around it, and I'm hesitating even asking for help with someone who can help me drive the car. Now if I go back in the past, I will try to find, is there any memory related to it? Maybe when I was a child, I was sitting in the car, maybe some accident happened, maybe then that's where the phobia got inside me. Or was it anything else? Maybe my friend told me a story of how she was traveling and then something happened in the car and that memory got deep seated inside my subconscious memory. Is it like that? But sometimes I'm not able to find any conscious existence of that. In that case, it might have its existence in the intergenerational trauma. So, what is intergenerational trauma? The trauma gets passed on from one generation to another. So, some things I might have not got from my parents and not even from my grandparents, but I might have got something, some fear, some phobia, or maybe a pattern in my life of how I react, of how I respond to situations from great grandparents or from great grandparents. And we don't even have idea about it because we have not met these people in reality, right? So these things get passed on to in our genetics, in our DNA. So that is why it is important that anybody in the family who becomes aware of such things, right? If somebody is constantly feeling very demotivated and lazy, and suppose if a mom is feeling like that, so whenever she will bear a child inside her for 9 months, and during those 9 months, if she's feeling very agitated, okay, very sad, very lonely, very alone, and she is feeling very lazy, not able to confront people, all of that will get inside the child even before the child is born in this world. So sometimes the child can get all these traumas from the mother in the womb, or it could be from the previous generations, which the person is not even aware about. But now, when the person becomes aware that, okay, I get stuck in these phases in my life, then it is very essential that if they are aware, they start working on themselves through inner work. Because if they will not break the pattern here, it is going to get passed on to the next generation. Maybe not to their children, but to someone in the family. We really don't know. So that is why it is said, when you heal yourself, you heal the next 7 generations of yours. So for that, you really need a lot of intense work. Just, thinking positive and meditating might not bring you the kind of results that you are looking for. And that is why it is very important that if you can seek support of someone, or if alone also you can, research and work on yourself, it will not only help you, it is going to help tremendously your family. Because when you heal yourself, you feel so lighter from within, and there is a lot of energetic space which gets created inside you. So the point is that if there is food on my plate, and from inside I'm filled with lot of resistance. Something happened 5 years ago, something happened 10 years ago, something is happening right now in my life, my entire body is completely stuffed. Unless I take all of those things out, how will I eat and relish the food which is existing in front of me right now? So similarly, if I want to experience life beautifully now to my fullest potential, I need to first remove those things inside me which are really not serving me. And that's what healing does. And when we heal ourselves, we create so much energetic space inside us that we are able to experience life to its fullest form, if not fullest, at least 90% better than what you are currently experiencing. And your family will definitely notice this change, because energy is very, it can be cashed very easily. Everything is energy. So if I heal myself and I feel very light, just like a bird, just like a feather, my family members, the people around me, they are going to notice that shift, vibrational shift inside me. And sometimes they will just heal themselves by being in my presence. So that's how this concept works.
That's nicely put. A fascinating explanation that you give us for all of us to ponder and think, if we are stuck in life, which are the 7 generations are responsible for that? I will come back to you. Now let me get my co-host Deepak to take this session forward. Deepak, all yours.
There are two or three things which I was thinking, Premraj. One was, you asked her 4 questions and she's taken 40 minutes, so 10 minutes per question answered. So she's like, really gone into detail into explaining that whole question. Normally, what happens is, when you ask a question, you get a 1.5, 2 minute answer, and we just move on. But she's gone into detail of each and every point. She's tried to make, you understand what she's saying. How does this work? And what does this do? So just I will take you up on that last question of yours. And on a side note, on a lighter note, all our wives pray for us that we get the same husband for 7 generations. So what is the logic in that? So God said, she has spent this full life making you understand how to sit, how to talk, how to wake up. All that experience, all that time wasted in one generation should not get wasted in the other generations. That is why you will get the same husband and wife for all the 7 generations.
Right, right.
You agree with that, Tanya, or no?
Yes, on a lighter note, I will definitely agree with that.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for that. Now, let me begin where you started, and I'd like your views on this.
Yeah.
These are real life, experiences. And you said about there being a universal director, a power on top. Sometimes we call it God, sometimes we call it the universe, whoever you may want to address it. And then you said that that is the director, and we are the co-directors in this big play of randomness which is happening, and we are all playing our parts. My question to you is this: there is a competitive exam going on. There are two students, there are two people who have put in their best, 24 hours studies, practice, this, that. Finally, in the end, there is one person who comes first and there is one person who comes second.
Right.
At what level does the director on top and this co-director get to decide who comes first and who comes second?
Wow, interesting question. I also used to ponder upon this a lot. And as per my study, I will give you this answer. So, so I basically believe in souls, right? So even if we don't believe in souls, what I have understood is that there are so many times in my life I've tried to change a certain thing, but it has my efforts have gone really wasted. I won't call waste is such a negative word, but things have not changed, right? So in that case, I understood that there is something which God has predestined for you. And what I can say here is that when this person comes first, somebody comes second. Now, this could be just one phase of life. So there is something which we study in astrology. So I'm not an astrologer, but what I have studied is that as per the planetary position when you're born, you get to decide in which dasha and mahadasha you are born. Okay, and that decides the main incidents in your life when you are gonna, if there is going to be break in your studies, in which year is this gonna break come, or if you are gonna meet with an accident, you're going to meet with an accident, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
similarly, when this person comes first, I don't think so that here the God, here the higher power has decided who is going to come first, who is going to come second. This is just this is a very small part of living the entire movie called life. But if higher power has decided as per your previous karmic account that you are going to be a very intelligent person and will be succeeding highly in your academic career, then just getting number one in the exam is just one of the ways to follow that path,
yeah,
right? So now if we consider that everything God is deciding or everything universe is deciding, I will not agree to it. You will have to put your efforts, because unless you put your efforts, you will not know that what if I could also get rank number one, right? So if you talk about this one rank one or two, this is just very small part of the entire thing. How much God is playing or how much universe is playing the part, how much that person is playing the part. But for bigger incidents in life, like if somebody gets a career break for 2 years and they were bedridden, they have a health condition, they try a lot of things, they try a lot of therapy, they try a lot of healing. But if as per their previous karmic account, it could be from any lifetime, as per that, if they had to go through certain difficulties in this lifetime, they will go through it. Now
yeah,
what will happen when I make the effort through healing, by working on my mindset, by all of that, I can
yes,
lower the intensity of the suffering, I
yes,
can lower the intensity of the pain. But if something I
yes,
have to go through because it's the higher power which has decided this as per my previous karmic account, I will have to go through it, just that the intensity will reduce. So once
right,
I understood this, that if somebody has to meet with an accident in a particular year, then they will meet. But if they do certain good karma in this particular lifetime, or
yeah,
they work on their mindset to become very alert, very aware while walking on the road, then
yeah,
instead of meeting with an accident with a truck or a car, they can just get a little bit of scratches, maybe by just falling down or anything like that, right? So the intensity can be reduced by our work, and that is where we as a director can come into picture.
wonderful, wonderfully well said. It is said pain
Pain
is
is
inevitable,
inevitable,
suffering
suffering
is
is
optional.
optional.
You decide whether you want to suffer or not. Pain is always going to be there. Whether
Right,
it is
right.
due to past karmic accounts, whether it is due to the actions you are taking today, pain is always going to be there. How you manage that pain, how much you suffer, it depends upon you.
Right, right.
Tell us a few real life stories of people whom you have helped,
Hmm.
helped heal. One,
Hmm.
maybe because of some past life trauma, past
Hmm.
generational trauma,
Hmm.
their
Hmm.
inner child, having suffered, or they having been withdrawn into a shell because of something happened with them. Share with us a few stories without taking names.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't work as a past life regression therapist. So I'm just gonna say this right now. I have the idea about it, but I don't practice it right now. As an inner child healing, whatever I practice, I can tell you that. So let's suppose somebody they were earlier living in a joint family, okay, and they were looking for that kind of emotional support when they went in that joint family when they got married, and they did not get it because their spouse moved to different locations. They had a very transferable job, and the person was staying there, taking care of the children, and the spouse was away for so many years and months, and they used to come back twice in a year. So when they were looking for the extended family members to take care of them, or just support them emotionally, these family members were not available.
Yeah.
So if this person now goes back to their parents, the real parents and that family, and they say, now that you're married, you take care of your things alone, don't bring us into this matter. So now the person starts feeling very alone, that there is nobody to listen to. Just because I'm married, does it make me does it do I not have the entitlement to even share what I'm going through? Nobody is there to even listen to this. So now, as the time passes by, 20 years pass by, this homemaker now decides to start their professional journey, right? By working on themselves, they realize they develop a very strong mindset, and they decide that, okay, now I will step into my professional journey. And now, again, after becoming so strong from inside, the person still feels that they need to give explanation for a lot of things in their house. Even if they have to go for a trip or for any networking event outside their house, they have to tell it to the other people in the family, always have to give justification. Now, not that these people are toxic, not at all. The people are very supportive, but because they are very used to a different version, an old version of this particular person, their spouse, this lady, they are somewhat not able to accept that how come the person is like now leaving the house and started their professional journey and want to go out for so many trips and all of that. So in that case, now the person is feeling the dilemma that whatever decision I want to take in my life, I'm not able to take it alone. I still am feeling very answerable either to my children who are grown up, they are in their teenage years, or they are in college, or I still feel very answerable to my spouse. So what do I do right now? I don't still get the confidence to take independent decisions. So when through inner child healing, we can work on this person, and then they will go back to the past time, and they will revisit all the times when they felt that they needed the emotional support, but the emotional support was not available to them. Now, when they revisit all those parts, those years, maybe 20 years ago or 15 years ago, and all those things, maybe two, three incidents, they will feel very uncomfortable to revisit all of that, because somebody must have said something very triggering to them, or they must have got very hurt at that time. But it is said that you can heal yourself only when you feel the emotion. तो जब भी आपके अंदर बहुत uncomfortable emotion आता है, or you get very uncomfortable emotion inside you, instead of shoving it aside, feel it, allow it to be felt inside your body. And so that is why in inner child healing, we focus on the somatic work. What is somatic work? We allow the person to experience the emotion in their body, and to not run away from that painful incident. And only when they stay there and they give it a closure, they give that particular incident a closure, they are able to come out of it. So one such incident, I remember the person had a pain in their right leg before we started the session, and it was kind of very surprising for me. After the session got over, it was for almost 2 hours, they said that, Tanya, my entire leg pain has vanished, because they were able to process those unprocessed emotions which were lying inside them, and they were not even aware of it. And after 1 week again, they told me that this pain has completely gone. So for me, that was the first time I also realized that how powerful this work can be. Now this work is powerful also, not because I help somebody navigate the journey. The other person has to be open to get themselves healed. If they are not open, if they are creating a lot of resistance for themselves, then it's a little challenging to get healed in such cases.
you know Talking about the inner child, and there is half of this crowd over here will agree to it that, when I meet a lot of people, they tell me, Deepak, where does your energy come from? How do you do what you do? Dance around, speak, song, sing, laugh aloud, loud. I tell them only one thing: I've never allowed my inner child to die. And, I just that inner child living its life.
Right.
At what point does the inner child die? In your life, at what point do we grow up? It's not about turning 18, but when we grow up, we somehow tell that child, now, we are now grown up, shut up, and you do your time is over. How
Right.
does that happen?
Okay. One can do it every single day. So, what happens? Sometimes a person will face a lot of trauma in their early childhood. So, till the age of 7 years, the subconscious mind gets developed. And during that phase, whatever the child is experiencing, the kind of sentences the child experiences, the kind of images the child sees, the kind of people the child meets, all of that becomes the subconscious memory, and it gets, almost permanent inside the person. So now, when the person might not even know that they have formed certain belief systems till they were at the age of 7. Now, once they become 20, 22, 25, 30, 35, 40 in their life, suddenly some incident can come in their life and they can face a lot of trigger out of that, or they will be finding a lot of difficulty to deal with it. So that's the time they need to go back in the past and ask that, if this incident is happening in my life, is there a similar incident like that which happened earlier when I was a young child? And if they are able to find one, that means it's time to heal the inner child. But it's not just about healing the younger child, which is, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. It can be as simple as, I heal a version of myself which existed yesterday. So yesterday somebody said to me something, I didn't like it and I couldn't process it. That means my inner child is wounded. Yesterday I got a result in my life which I'm not liking, and I'm feeling that, why every time this happens with me, I put a lot of efforts but I don't get the answer.
Yeah.
So I need to attend to that inner child. So it can be done every single day.
Just now Amit put in the chat box, he says, Dil to bachcha hai ji, thoda kacha hai ji, and I can't stop myself from singing that song. So I took the opportunity of being that host. You can do whatever you want without anybody saying anything. There are so many questions, I can keep on asking, but let me take this opportunity to open up to all the participants who are here. Anybody would like to say anything, add to what Tanya has said, has a question for her, please unmute yourself. Go ahead and ask.
I would like to add one thing, Deepak, over here.
Yes, Amit.
And today, I again remembered you saying in one of the past sessions, "हम तो सब रंगमंच की कठपुतलियां हैं," the famous dialogue from the movie Anand. Yes, and today it's apt for this session, so we cannot miss this out.
Yes, आनंद वाला गाना जो गा रहे थे हम लोग उस दिन, and you remember that, try whatever you want at one level, at one point, that there is that one fellow who will get his things done his way. We may try whatever we want, but होना वही है जो होगा. Partly what Tanya said, but there are different points of view. So I take what you are saying, and I am totally with you. I also take almost 95% of what she is saying. So we are on the same plane. Brigadier sir, go ahead.
Firstly, I want to congratulate Payal and the complete Bloom team. I don't know how you managed to get the best of speakers on this platform. That is my first thing. Second thing is that I normally have my class on Sunday at 11 o'clock. And today I managed to finish it off early. So I could attend this right from the beginning. Otherwise, I normally join in the middle. And Tanya, you got me engrossed right from the first second. So people said take 7 minutes, 7 seconds to engage, but it took you 1 second to engage.
Thank you.
The subject that you have covered and the way you have done it, I'm very familiar with the subject because it is talked in my home from breakfast till dinner.
Okay.
Because my wife is a past life regressionist, she's an inner child healer, she's a family constellation. She does whole lot of these things, and she travels across the world today to do workshops, and she's teaching people this. So obviously I also get taught, and I also did my clinical hypnosis level 1, so I have a little idea. What I want to really compliment you is the way you simplified it. It was, it was so beautifully done. And coincidence that 11 o'clock, I was telling somebody of how not to let other people's opinion interfere in your life. And the moment I finish this and come into this, I find the same thing happening. So it was very, very relatable. I really want to congratulate you. I think you're doing a fantastic job. And I loved every second of what I heard you. Thank you.
If you are
Thank
not
you.
following Tanya on LinkedIn, go and give her a follow, because what she's posting is a little different of what all of us are posting. All of us post a little gyan about what we know, a little knowledge sharing. Just look at her LinkedIn post. She will take one random video of nature and try to make out things, and then post something on that, and she's doing something hatke, thoda sa alag hai. So if you're not following Tanya, give her a follow. You will understand what I'm saying. Milind, you wanted to say something? Go ahead.
Please share her link.
Tanya Bhatia. Search for Tanya Bhatia on LinkedIn. Yeah.
So the ID is Magnifying Impressions by Tanya, and there is no space, but I'll write it in the chat box.
Right in the chat box. That will be
Right.
easier.
Milind, you wanted to ask?
It's easier than typing. That is it.
Right.
Abhijit. And our very own patron saint, Brenda. We can't complete this session without a few thoughts from you.
In most of
Anya.
it, I was
Yeah.
traveling to Uttan and I just sort of got back at the end of it. Two
Wow.
things. One is I do not believe in karma as as my worldview. So I do not believe that what happens in this life will previous life has affected this life or the future life. That's okay. That's just a difference of opinion. But about keeping the child alive, I'm very much into it. I just like you in some ways. I haven't grown up. So I have, I always have fun. And, when I come into the room, there's an energy and, fooling with my grandchildren, just doing things alone, which even may not be, uh, just being self-assured as a child and not bothered what others say. There are very few people many people go to a movie alone, to a play alone, they even travel alone. But one thing very few women do is they hardly eat a meal alone in a restaurant.
Yeah.
I'm so self-assured within myself because I know that something interesting is going to happen. I'll meet some nice people, and it invariably does. So there's that, childlike curiosity, looking for fun, looking for adventure all the time. I have not, 73 could have been 37, 8. I have not grown up. I hope that, in the next maybe 10 years or so, I will grow up. But at the moment, my friends say, mischief monger is what they call me. And you're always up to mischief. Yeah, I was like that as a child also. But then I became very introverted for a certain reason when we moved to Bombay and I was the youngest in class. But I was very, very, very mischievous. I mean, the whole town knew me. And I used to take pride in that. For me, it was, the naughtiest kid on the block was, a badge that I wore very, very proudly. And to some extent, my mother also realized this. I think I've said this once before, that when I was being sent to Goa finally for study,